This is Exodus 20:12, and it reads, Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee. All praises to the Most High. Call Haloyim, La Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, the God of the heavens and earth, and of the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You comprise the 12 tribes. You are the chosen people of the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the elders and apostles who labor faithfully in this truth and are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, Habayath Madawadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring to make their call of election sure, and to the occupant Akwath, who listen and believe on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. To you I say Shalom. This is Brother Sakallah, coming back with a lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, is edifying for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear through the Rakak Wadash. Now, this lesson is going into the metaphor, which is wisdom. And the metaphor that is wisdom, going back to Exodus 20:12, it tells us to honor our mother and our father, that our days may be long upon the land which the Lord Yahweh giveth us. But this is twofold. It's speaking literally about your natural parents, your mother and your father, but it's also speaking about wisdom. So, when you go through the precepts, we get more understanding. So now let's go ahead and jump into the first precept. Let's go to the book of Matthew real quick. This is Matthew, the 10th chapter, because it tells us to honor our mother and our father. Now, let's get some more precepts, just showing some of the parallels. Matthew 10, and this is verse 37. Matthew 10 and 37, I'll start at 36, and it reads, And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. So a man's enemies are going to be those of his own household, those of his family. Verse 37, Matthew 10 and 37, And he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So the Lord said out of his mouth, your greatest enemies are going to be those of your own household in these last days. And that you're not supposed to love your father or mother more than him. And you're not worthy of him if you do so. Now, why would the Lord say that out of his mouth? Let's get another account. Luke 14 and 26. And it reads, If any man come to me, that means come to be a servant, come to, into this glorious gospel, this ministry, this truth, this light. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. So the Lord said you cannot be his disciple or be a servant of his or, be in this faith. If you're in this faith and you love your life, your mother, your father, your brother, but it was once again in there, it spoke about first and foremost his father and his mother. Speaking of your natural parents, your literal parents, your literal father and mother. So we're going to get the parallels here in a second, just showing you that, your natural parents, are, looked at as secondary when it comes to wisdom, just like your children, your wife, your own life, Yahweh Shah said. So now, let's go further and show that through more precepts. Let's show that wisdom, once again, is also likened unto your father and your mother, your first father and mother. All things come through wisdom. Proverbs 23 and 22. Hearken unto thy father that begat thee. And this is speaking of the Most High, Yahweh. And despise not thy mother when she is old. Speaking of wisdom. Buy the truth and sell it not. Speaking of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the Bible. The law, statutes, and commandments. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. The Bible tells you Wisdom is a principal thing. With all thy getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. Here's why. Proverbs 23 and 24. The father of righteousness, or the father of righteous, shall rejoice greatly. Speaking of the Most High. And he that begotteth a wise son shall have joy of him. So the Lord has joy, when his sons, serve him through wisdom. Verse 25, Proverbs 23 and 25, thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. Speaking of wisdom. Verse 26, my son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways, which says the same thing when you read Proverbs, the 7th chapter. It says the same thing in Proverbs, the 7th chapter, to keep the Lord's commandments and live. So I'm going to get that. Proverbs 7:1, my son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and the law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the table of thine heart, which is your mind, your lob in the Hebrew. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. Now we see wisdom is being likened unto a woman. That's why when you read about it, wisdom, it continuously, refers to wisdom as she. So it said, call wisdom. I read it again, Proverbs 7:4. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. So wisdom is being likened unto a woman. Now let's show that further through the precepts. See if I can find this next precept here. Proverbs 1:1, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instructions of wisdom, justice, and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels, which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Most High. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. That's what our Lord keeps saying, to give your heart unto wisdom. Here's why. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Now I'll read that here in a second. It says, my son. Let's read that again. It says, my son, Proverbs 1:8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, speaking of the Most High, the Father of all spirits, and forsake not the law of thy mother. So now we see the mother being likened unto the law. The same we saw in Proverbs, the 7th chapter. Call understanding thy kinswoman, and thy sister. Now it's saying once again in Proverbs 1:8, forsake not the law of thy mother. That wisdom is being likened unto a woman. Now let's further show that as we continue on, that wisdom is being likened unto a mother, and a father. So we see it as a mother. All right. So let's get another precept, because we read in Proverbs 23 where it was likened unto a father as well. But let's get another precept. Just going into that, because it says, hear the instructions of thy father, which is the Most High, and forsake not the law of thy mother. So let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach 15:1, and it reads, he that feareth the Lord will do good, and he that hath the knowledge of the law shall obtain her. Speaking of wisdom, it says, and as a mother, she, which is wisdom, shall meet him and receive him as a wife married of a virgin. Because when you read, in Proverbs, the 30th chapter, the 5th verse, it tells you that all the words of the Most High are pure. So wisdom is being likened unto a woman that is a virgin. So it says, as a mother, verse 2, Sirach 15:2, she shall meet him and receive him as a wife married of a virgin. Verse 3, with the bread of understanding shall she feed him and give him the water of wisdom to drink. So that water of wisdom to drink is speaking of this truth, That water of wisdom to drink is speaking and referring again unto this truth. So now when we go back, it'll make it much easier to read and understand when we go back to Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23 and 22, it says, Hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old, speaking of wisdom. Let's jump down to the point, verse 24. The father of the righteous shall rejoice greatly. So the father of the righteous is the father of the righteous ones, which is Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the father of all spirits. Let's get that. Let's show that the father of the righteous is speaking of the father of the spirits, which is speaking of Yahweh, because it's the father of the righteous shall rejoice when the son receives that wisdom. Hebrews 12 and 9, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us and gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? Father of spirits being symbolic of Yahweh. Yahweh, the Most High, is the Father of spirits. So now, as we continue on, we get more understanding on wisdom. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, the 9th chapter. Proverbs 9. Proverbs 9 and 1, wisdom hath builded her house. She have hewn out her 7 pillars, and that 7 being symbolic of completion, and those pillars being the foundation, of our faith, which is wisdom. And that wisdom is Yahweh Shai. That wisdom is Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let's show that wisdom is speaking about. Let's come back to Proverbs 9. And let's get a precept. Because I spoke about Yahweh Shai being, symbolic to wisdom. Let's see if I can find it. Salakia. Give me 1 sec. Alright. Give me 1 sec. Alright. So let's go to Ephesians 2. Ephesians 2 and 19. Let's see if we can get it. So it's the book of Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. Ephesians 2. Let's see. Salakia. Let's go back to Ephesians 2. Yeah, I'll start at 19. Ephesians 2 and 19. Now, therefore, ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints. And the saints is speaking of the elect, the believers, and of the household of the Most High. We are the household of the Most High when we come into this marvelous light. Verse 20, Ephesians 2 and 20. And are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Hamashiach, or Yahweh Shai Hamashiach himself, being the chief cornerstone. So Yahweh Shai is the chief cornerstone of our faith. So let's go back to what I was reading in here in the book of Proverbs 9 and 1. Wisdom hath builded her house. She have hewn out her 7 pillars. Once again, those 7 pillars being symbolic, to completion, a complete foundation. And that foundation being Yahweh Shai, being the truth. She have killed her beast. She have mingled her wine. She have also furnished her table. Speaking of wisdom. She, once again, speaking of she, hath sent her maidens. She have cried upon the highest places of the city, which is what happens when the brothers go out and speak this truth, pertaining once again to Proverbs, the 1st chapter. Whoso is simple, let him turn in thither or in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she said to him, Come, eat of my bread and drink of my wine, which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. That's what we do when we, continue in this truth. We forsake the simple and the foolish, and we continue to live. Because the man that wanders out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So, Yahushua being the chief cornerstone of our faith, and the chief cornerstone of wisdom, the wisdom, knowledge, understanding. There's, when it speaks about the Father, it's speaking about Yahweh through Yahushua. So let's show that as well, that wisdom is a metaphor for the Most High and Yahushua. Start with the Most High down to Yahushua, and that mother being symbolic, and that kinswoman and that woman and mother being symbolic of wisdom itself, which is symbolism for a woman. Psalm 2:12, and it reads, Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. That's the chief cornerstone of our faith, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. So when we kiss the Son, the scriptures say, kiss the Son lest he be angry with you. He told Peter to do the work. If you love me, feed my sheep. So once again, wisdom is thy mother and thy father, thy first mother and thy first father. I got another precept just going into getting the understanding through the symbolism. Now here goes another precept. This is the book of Matthew. Something Yahushua said that goes hand in hand with this. This is Matthew 12, and I'm going to start at verse 46. Matthew 12:46. It reads, While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto them that told him, or unto him that told him, Who is my mother and who are my brethren? Yahushua was asking the question. Who's asking who is his mother and who is his brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. And he was speaking about that because that was the symbolism. The disciples were in the steed of being those that was, doing the work. They were the disciples of Yahushua. So when he said, Who is my mother, my sister, my brother, he continued on speaking with them because they were in the steed of, doing the work, which was doing the will of his Father in heaven. That's why he said, that's who my mother, my sister, my brother is. That's my first family, which is really wisdom. His first family, our first family truly is wisdom. Wisdom is our first family. Before our natural parents, our children, or anything else. Wisdom, and those that, obtain that wisdom are a part of that family. And those that believe, and continue in the faith. See if I can get another precept and close it out. One of my favorite precepts, the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, 7. And I'll start at, Wisdom of Solomon 7. And I'll start at verse 22. For wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me, for in her is an understanding Holy Spirit, one only, manifold, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good, kind to men, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle spirits. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of the Most High, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of the Most High, and the image of his goodness. And being but one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new, and in all ages entering to the holy souls, she maketh them friends of the Most High and prophets. So this is what makes us one with the Most High, friends and prophets. For the Most High loveth none but him that dwell with wisdom. See, the Lord loves those that dwell with wisdom. And that's why Yahushua made the statements that he made. Speaking of your mother and your father, speaking of wisdom. Verse 29, for she, wisdom, is more beautiful than the sun, and above all the order of the stars, being compared with the light, she is found before it. So, wisdom is more beautiful than all things, because she is in all things, and wisdom consists in all things. So with that, I hope that was edifying. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Call Haloyim, La Yahweh, La Yahushua. All praises to our power. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, double honor to the elders and apostles. Peace, love, and blessings to the house of David, Habayath, Mandawada, and to the Akim and Akwafim who also listen and believe on Mashiach Yahushua. To you I say Shalom as well. Shalom.